Good afternoon, everyone, on this absolutely gorgeous, spectacular day. Hopefully you're staying hydrated. So it is my pleasure to welcome you here to Tech Talk and Tech Trek 2025. My name is Ben Ernst. I'm the Talent Programs Manager here at Spark. And this year, this is sort of the inaugural year, we're trying something new with Tech Talk. We're wrapping it into Tech Trek, the festivities. It's free, and we're excited to bring it all together under one banner. So it's the perfect opportunity for you not only to explore the cutting edge companies that have opened their doors all around downtown, but also to hear from them directly, entrepreneurs and innovators, as they share the stories behind their ideas and their journeys. And so right now is actually a perfect time to be doing this because Ann Arbor was recently ranked among the top 5 Midwest cities for startups, which is an incredible recognition when you keep in mind that we are several times smaller than a lot of the other cities on that list. So what makes us stand out? We lead the region in startup density, we rank 2nd in startup activity and momentum, and we place 3rd in the number of patents that are issued, which is pretty remarkable. But those numbers, they reflect more than just sort of quantitative things. They also reflect the strength of a community where collaboration between entrepreneurs, investors, educators, civic leaders, where that drives innovation and opportunity every day. So before we dive into things, we'd like to first thank our Tech Talk sponsors, which are Applied Innovation, Cahoots Co-working, and Comcast Business, for their support in making today's program possible, as well as, of course, the LDFA. So now it is my pleasure to introduce Lisa Kosis, who's the Vice President of Business Development, to share a few words on behalf of Comcast Business.
Hello, thank you. Couldn't have asked for a better day. I'm standing in for someone who is coming from Columbus, Ohio, and I believe they chose not to come because it's Ann Arbor, but we won't go there. I'm from Michigan State, but I love Ann Arbor. There you go, right on. So thank you. On behalf of Comcast, we wanted to say thank you and allow us to be a sponsor here. One thing that we see is when you say tech and then talk together, there's one thing that you definitely cannot omit, and that's cybersecurity. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but this is the month, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And interesting enough, Comcast just did a 2025 cybersecurity threat report that everyone can get and come to our booth 44. But I wanted to kind of throw out some numbers because the numbers don't tell the story. It's all everything behind it. We assessed just under 35 billion cybersecurity attacks, whether that was a residential, a cell phone, a computer, et cetera. 19.5 billion were bots. Events from bots, right? When I was 10 years ago sitting here, I was only thinking bots were when Gru tried to go after with those little mini cookies and get the freeze ray or shrink ray from Vector. 9.5 billion were malware attempts, trying to install malware. A couple of things, right? This is just attempts, and human error is a big factor here. 4.5 billion phishing attempts, that's pretty big as well. And then 44,000 DDoS. Whether you're an individual, a consumer, a business, or any of our partners along the way, this is something that is real and is something that we need to make sure that as you're building your business plans, talking about your home budgets, you need to make sure that you are factoring in the security of your devices and yourself. Comcast can help. We are a partner in the journey for any business, any residential on our Xfinity side, as well as making sure you stay safe when you are in the digital ecosystem. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Wendy to talk a little bit about what Comcast can do.
Thanks, Lisa. All right, so don't mind the notes because we are definitely a stand-in today, but let's dive into it, right? So let's talk solutions. Comcast Business is not just standing by and watching the chaos of what's going on with cybersecurity and all of the attacks that are happening out there, right? We have an entire playbook out there for a solutions portfolio. And so first up, we'll talk about MDR. So MDR is managed detection and response. So think about it as if The Rock and ChatGPT joined together and had a cybersecurity baby, right? Like that's the intention of what MDR is going to be. And then there's Unified Threat Management, otherwise known as UTM, the fun acronyms that we all in this space acknowledge it by. And so firewall, intrusion prevention, malware protection, and all of that works together like the Avengers of cybersecurity, okay? Then we've got DDoS mitigation, because nothing kills productivity like your system crashing because your kids are playing too much Fortnite. Next up, we've got endpoint detection and response, otherwise known as EDR, okay? And that's every device is protected. Let's be honest. All of our laptops out there have seen things and or clicked on things that they probably shouldn't have. So this is going to protect you from that. And lastly, Security Edge. Security Edge shields connected devices from malicious threats so that your smart fridge can sit there and chill like it's supposed to.
So basically what we're here for is to kind of help Booth 44. We will give you a view of our threat report. I think as any business, there's also things that we have. We have a company called DataBee that helps you with the analytics, and that's something that's critically important. There's the last thing you want to see your cybersecurity or IT folks running around on energy drinks. You want to make sure they're sitting around and just chilling and chillaxing because they're protected. I like to be able to sleep at night, and that's something that I rely on my IT team to do. So thank you for allowing us to be here. Thank you. This is amazing. I want to sit and listen to the baseball. That's pretty cool. I'm a baseball geek. It looks so sweet. But I want to thank you guys for having us here and enjoy the rest of the day. And I guess I'll go blue.
Well done. All right. Thank you so much. So now it's my pleasure to introduce today's MC, which is Dr. Brandon Roderick Tucker. He's the Executive Vice President for Instruction at Washtenaw Community College. Dr. Tucker oversees more than 130 credit programs serving 20,000 students every year with a strong focus on workforce-aligned curricula in advanced manufacturing, mobility, and skilled trades. His leadership has been instrumental in expanding partnerships that close talent gaps and prepare students for the careers of today and tomorrow. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Brandon Tucker to the stage.
Thank you, Ben. How's everybody doing? We are going to have an exciting round, kind of a firing round of innovation and technology. As Ben mentioned, I'm Brandon Tucker. I have the pleasure of serving at Washtenaw Community College, but I am glad to be here as we have a booth right outside of this stage to really take part in what we know is not just the future, but what is right now. Today marks the final day of A2 Tech 360. Over the past 10 days, our region has seen shine through innovation with ideas and concepts as well as prototypes that spotlight innovation, entrepreneurship, and collaboration. I've hoped that you've had the opportunity to attend the many sessions, but I'm really excited that you're going to be able to see up close and personal today what we know is going to change not just our community, but change our world. Today we're closing A2 Tech 360 with something special, Tech Talk. And Tech Talk this year is free and staged right along with Tech Trek, turning today into what we're going to coin as a giant show and tell. You'll see everything from high school students launching passes with a football throwing robot, to startups reinventing neuroscience and solar power, to companies who are at the forefront of marketing and advanced batteries. It's a one-of-a-kind mix of organizations right here in Washtenaw County, and it's about giving you a front row seat to the ideas that are going to shape our future. Our first presenter today is Navitas Systems, a company that's actually powering this stage right now with next generation lithium batteries built for some of the toughest missions. I want you to give a roaring, rousing, energetic welcome to John Sapp, the president of Navitas. Let's give it up for John.
What if everything ran on gas? Then again, what if everything didn't? The 100% electric, zero gas Nissan Leaf. Innovation for the planet, innovation for all.
Welcome. Thanks for the round of applause. As you can see, we stole a little bit of the marketing material from Nissan, but I thought it hit home with the message we're trying to deliver today. I don't work for Nissan. Navitas does not make batteries for Nissan, and Navitas doesn't even make batteries for the automotive sector, but I'll get into that in just a minute. So imagine a world without batteries. Think about that for just a moment. No cars, no laptops, no cell phones. How would you manage? Well, yeah, many of these alternative varieties of energy could work, but be really inconvenient. So stop. What do you hear? What do you smell? You don't smell exhaust. You don't hear engines running in the background. And as was mentioned, we're powering this whole event, not just the stage, but the whole event. As you can see, to your right over here, we've got to set up a couple of batteries here powering the energy needs of what we're doing here on the stage. And as you walk around this event, you're going to see a number of those stations with our batteries powering the rest of the activities here. And if you stop and look at it, you'll be able to see some of the carbon emissions they're taking out, some of the noise levels they're reducing. So just one example of how powerful batteries can be, even for an event like this. So what do we make? Who do we make it for? So we're a lithium-ion battery company here in Ann Arbor. We've been here for a little over 13 years. We are fortunate enough to be owned by a much larger company for the last 4 years, East Penn. You'll see some of their signage around here. The product that we make for them right now, at least one of the products is called Deca-Ready Power, and that's what's powering this event right now. So we're on the hunt for engineers and scientists, but a lot of other opportunities exist for people that aren't in the technical world. Always looking for good interns, looking for people that are just coming out of college, looking for people that are in a job right now that maybe aren't really happy and want to do something a little different with their life, something that might help the overall environment and move technology ahead. So as I mentioned, we have a couple of different markets we serve. We make batteries for forklifts, and again, we've repurposed a lot of those forklift batteries here to power this event. We make military products. You can see 3 of them up here. We make a conformable wearable battery that soldiers on the field wear and power their night vision goggles, all their communication needs. We make a sonar battery here that couples with a sonar device. These get thrown out of the back of airplanes and ping for enemy subs in the ocean. And then finally, we make a transportation battery. So this one allows for tanks, Humvees to not only start the vehicle, but do a lot of silent watch type of activities, which eliminates the sound profile and the exhaust profile as they're watching the battlefields. We're also working towards making products for other markets. As the screen says, data center backups. You've heard a lot about AI and the need to be able to have more computing power. What comes along with that is the ability to function those data centers when the grid goes down. And we're all realizing the grid becomes less and less stable each year, so we're working towards building lithium-ion batteries as a backup source for those. Telecommunication, we're working to develop those. 5G, 6G, 7G type applications use more power. People become more reliable on them. And again, when the grid goes down, they need a backup battery. And then finally, automotive. We're not going to be making the batteries that actually move the vehicles. We'll be making batteries that help start vehicles if it's a gas engine, and also do some other non-critical things that the main battery does. So more of a backup and a safety feature. So we have really from the beginning to the end relative to research. We do research work, we do product development, and we also do production. And so we're looking for all kinds of people. Again, scientists, PhDs, all the way down to someone that might be able to run a fairly complicated manufacturing piece of equipment on our manufacturing floor. So again, what we're doing is we're taking lithium-ion. It's existing for quite a while. We have a lot of different things we need to do to that battery. We need electrical engineers to figure out how to design the circuits to control the lithium-ion battery. We need software engineers to figure out how to run the control software behind to make sure it stays safe. Mechanical engineers to create the packaging. Systems engineers to make sure we know how it all works together. Manufacturing engineers to figure out how to manufacture it. And then research people to be working up front to figure out what kind of chemistries we need to make to be able to support our customers. For the forklift market, we have quite a large portfolio of forklift batteries. You can see some of the pictures around here. We pretty much can supply any forklift with any type of battery it needs. So it's quite a wide variety of portfolio. And again, the military market, as I mentioned, 3 different products right now that are moving towards production, and we've got some others in the pipeline that support other applications like space stations, like aircraft, and some other things. So let me speak a little bit about our capabilities. So right now we're developing 2 new state-of-the-art facilities. One, it'll be our Center of Excellence for Research and Product Engineering, which actually has partially opened. It's just south of Ann Arbor Airport. We have about 25, 30 people in the building. Eventually we'll have about 100. It'll have state-of-the-art equipment and technology in that building to help us develop the product. And then we're on the hunt for a new location to be able to set up our state-of-the-art Center of Excellence for Manufacturing and Operations, all hopefully within the Ann Arbor community. So again, I mentioned we're fortunate enough to be owned by a parent company. If anybody's in the lithium-ion business, it takes a lot of money and a long time to finally get profitable. Our parent company is in the battery business, but a totally different technology, and they realize lithium is coming quick and they need a product and a company to be able to help supply that next generation, and we are that company. But it takes a lot of money to set up the facilities we have, and luckily our parent company has invested millions and millions of dollars in the infrastructure we have here in Ann Arbor. So they're a privately held, family-owned company that's been around for about almost 80 years, and they've really trusted Navitas to kind of take them into the next decades ahead. Finally, we'll use all of this technology really to kind of stay at the forefront. Again, there's a lot of things happening very quickly within the market. Automotive companies have very deep pockets, but they're developing a different type of version for lithium-ion. We have to be a lot more customized for the military applications and in some cases, some of the commercial applications that I mentioned. So one of the things we're trying to do is develop a culture, and we need some people that are willing to push the boundaries, think out of the box, strong work ethic, make sure that we're dealing with the customers. It's a comprehensive approach to making sure that the culture we develop, people gravitate towards us because we're competitive in the marketplace with salaries and benefits, but they stay around because the culture is something unique. Again, we're always trying to identify and promote ideas that are patentable, whether it be materials or systems exploration. So if that connects with you, then definitely stop by and talk to us about the opportunities that we have. And then we want to be able to provide, again, a customer facing. We're not just in the business to do research. We're not just in the business to take somebody else's technology and make it for ourselves. We're in the business to be able to do all of those. And that takes a pretty special type of company with a lot of different types of people and a lot of different types of capability. But we feel we're one of the few that has that very beginning to develop the powder that goes into the lithium all the way to the end where you're delivering a final product to the customer. They plug it in and it works all the time. So our responsibility, again, lithium-ion comes along with a lot of challenges. One of them is to make sure that we're allowing our employees and our customers to feel the benefit. It's not all about just making money at the end of the day. It's, again, creating a culture, working with the community, and making sure we're doing the right things the right way. Again, but the challenge in lithium-ion is to make them continually safer, to last longer, more sustainable, and more affordable to get it out to the marketplace. So that's a big focus that we have. As much as it's about early technology, it's also about refining that technology to make sure that it's available more to the masses. And finally, again, we're going to have state-of-the-art capabilities and a focus at the customer that hopefully sets us apart from our other competition. So if any of this sounds interesting, my hope is you found it interesting. You stop by one of our booths around here. We have one just across the street. Or at the very least, stop by and see what our products are capable of. Hit this QR code and you'll be able to be taken to our website where you're going to be able to find more information about the company and even to the point of some of the available positions that are open now. I'd like to finish by thanking our parent company again. I've had the opportunity and the fortune to be able to lead the company for the last 4 years. And we wouldn't have been able to do it without their investment. So I'm very appreciative of them. I'm appreciative of Ann Arbor community for allowing us to shut down the streets here in the middle of a very busy day. And finally to Ann Arbor Spark for organizing this event. Obviously a lot of planning went into this and they've been able to give us a platform to be able to talk about our products and our company. So thanks to them as well. Thanks everybody.
Let's give it up again for John and Navitas. We can do better than that. Come on. It's amazing to see what is not only thought of and manufactured and brought to life all here in Washtenaw County and in Ann Arbor. And as John mentioned, those opportunities to contribute are right here. So hopefully you've taken advantage to scan the QR code if you're looking for a job or if you're looking to learn more. Once again, John, we thank you for being able to share with us. I want you to meet a really cool robot called Sven. Say it again. Sven, not Seven, who is doing some amazing things. And there are 3 people, Justin, Garen, and Luke from Treetown Tech that are going to show us about Sven. Let's give it up for them.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Luke.
I'm Garen.
We're from Treetown Tech, and today we are very proud to bring you what we think is going to be the most disruptive innovation in robotics and AI, maybe ever?
Possibly ever.
I don't know. Garen, tell me, what do you think is the biggest problem our society faces today?
By a mile, it is the excessive kindness.
Thank you. Excessive kindness.
Exactly.
Are you tired of people being nice to you all the time?
I'm so sick of it.
Constant praise, constant
Constantly.
compliments. You're so good looking. You're so smart.
All
I
the
want to give you a
time.
raise. It's brutal. I get tired of it.
It can leave you feeling untethered from the bedrock of reality.
Very true. Untethered. Which is why today, Treetown Tech has finally engineered a solution. In the interest of public service and good engineering, we have finally created what we believe to be the next chapter of AI. Please allow us to present the Synaptic Vector Ego Neutralizer.
And we call him Sven. Sven is not just a machine. He is a semi-aware, socially obtuse insult artisan. His single purpose is to identify the precise altitude of your high horse and give you a safe, controlled descent back to safe ground.
Think of him less as a robot, but more of a co-pilot for your soul. But here's how he works. First, simply put yourself in front of Sven, and don't worry if you're not directly in front. He will track you and he will find you. Then, whenever you're ready, throw up the gesture. We prefer to use devil horns.
He's not doing anything.
He's not catching you?
No.
He's not powered on, but if he was, he would go up to the cloud and hit a large language model that we've been working on to basically find all the flaws within Garen, in which there are many.
Many.
Assess them all, trained on them, and he would give you the most brutal insult possible.
Yes.
Does it work now? Let's give him a shot. Let's give him one more
Well,
chance.
let's try him again.
I don't think.
Oh.
Here we go.
Oh, man.
What's he got to say?
You look like a caveman who hunts his own food. You definitely have a carabiner attached to you at all times in case you need to hit the climbing wall. You're one splinter away from having an existential crisis.
I feel much better than earlier, significantly more grounded.
I've seen his car also. Lots of carabiners.
Lots.
So, that part is true. Okay. Sven's obviously not a real robot, or not a real product. Real robot. Not a real product. Not really what we make at Treetown, but the process that we go about creating Sven is very similar to the engineering work that we do every day. So, who are we? We're Treetown Tech. We are a engineering firm, full-service engineering firm, specializing in product development, custom solutions, prototyping. We're a multidisciplinary team. We have an electrical and mechanical team, software engineers ranging from firmware, AI and machine learning, full-stack web development. We have a great battery team, industrial design, if I didn't mention it already. We have an awesome technician team that are experts in fabrication, welding, machining, you name it. We're founded in 2016, and since then we've taken on projects across a ton of different industries and a ton of space, clients of all shapes and sizes. Just to name a few, we've done work in batteries and defense, electric vehicles, smart factory intelligence, industrial automation and control, semiconductor manufacturing, you name it.
That's one of the things we love most about Treetown is the chance to dive into such a wide variety of projects. We're a bunch of nerds who love designing, building cool things. The catch, of course, is that this work mostly happens under strict NDAs, so we rarely get to show it off. And that's where Sven comes in. Sven is something we built as a team building exercise last fall. And over the course of building him, we realized that Sven brought together many of our team's core skill sets, making him a great example of how to approach turning an idea into reality. So today, we'd like to share Sven's rapid prototyping story, the tools we use to build him and keep him cost effective and fast, and show you that building something new is more accessible than ever.
So Sven, like any good project, started out as just an idea. We actually didn't even really have an idea at first. We just kind of all thought, let's make something fun. So we got together in a room full of whiteboards, a handful of us, and we just kind of brainstorming and spitballed ideas. So Sven kind of came into existence. Somebody said, like, let's make a Halloween skeleton. Let's put eyes on it and have the eyes kind of follow you around. It'll be kind of like a cool Halloween decoration. And we thought that was cool, but we wanted to use it all year round. So we said, what if it was more like the fortune-telling Zoltar machines, if you've ever seen one at the arcades or on the boardwalks. And then someone said, it kind of devolved, and eventually someone said, what if the fortune-telling robot was just an asshole instead of fortune-telling? And we were like, that sounds fun. So we kind of went from the actual, idea phase right into the real, first step in the engineering phase, which was the system block diagram. And I think this is where being a multidisciplinary firm really helps us here, because you bring this very high level, very simple diagram to different members of the team, and you get different questions. So mechanically, people are asking, how are we going to mount this thing? Is it going to be, portable? Can we, replace these parts easily? Electrically, you wonder cabling cost and power requirements. How much data do we need to move between these different devices? And, what serial buses can we run? Is there a lot of parts that already exist? Do we have to make our own custom PCBs? Software, you're thinking, we need a lot of computing power. We know this is going to take machine vision. So what are we going to get there? How much data we have to move between these devices. So you start asking all these questions, and you start realizing what's feasible and what's not. You kind of spend a lot of time at the system block diagram phase, and you save yourself a lot of time down the road before you even buy any hardware, before you invest in code, anything like that.
And once you have an idea, the next step is to kind of hone it into something that looks like what you really want it to and works like you really want it to. So we start off with a couple of rounds of just sketching out our ideas, making little tweaks, changing how it looks, thinking about how it could interact with people in the world until we have something that we're kind of happy with. And on the left here is some of the early sketching we did for Sven. Once you have something that looks like what you want, you can move into CAD so you can see it in 3D. You can start to figure out how parts are going to interact with each other, what parts you're going to use, see it all exactly like it would look in real life. And as an added bonus, there's a lot of open source free CAD models for parts that you can find off the shelf online these days that makes this process faster than it's ever been.
Absolutely. And a side note here, we needed a humanoid torso for the midsection. We realized this pretty quickly. So it was a creative problem, and Garen and I had to take matters into our own hand with a very creative solution. So we ended up acquiring a robot or a mannequin, and I won't say how. But anyways, turns out having a mannequin around your office, first of all, can be a very funny little joke, very fun thing to have around. I tried to get him to teach him how to do my job. He was a little quiet, wasn't very good.
So in the prototyping stage, it's all about getting an idea out into the real world as fast as you can. So bolting a stolen mannequin torso to a box, much faster than trying to model something, 3D print it, that can take a while. So this is much quicker. And as a side note, we did this in my garage, and I was so worried that the neighbors were going to see us sawing apart a mannequin and never want to talk to me ever again. For his head, we were going to 3D print that, but that doesn't really have the industrial look that we were after. We could have CNC machined it, but that can be expensive and time consuming. So we ended up going with flat cut sheet metal parts, and it was welded up by our very own Catherine Zamina.
So let's talk about the electrical prototyping real quick here. Treetown, we do a lot of custom PCBs, custom boards, but when you're trying to get something up fast, it's often just better to see what else already exists. So nothing in Sven is a custom board here. Everything was off-the-shelf development kits and eval kits. So I'll start with the main brain of Sven, which is an NVIDIA Jetson. By far the most expensive thing on the system. It's $500, but you get a 6-core CPU, a 1,000-core GPU. You can run machine vision models on it. It comes with an operating system already ready to go. Lots of tools that exist for it. Super useful. Then we connected for running a lot of the lower level I/O. So think driving the LCD screens that display his eyes and his mouth. moving the arms. We use STM32 microcontroller dev kits. These are $30, $40, $50. You can get these things off the shelf, and then you have a bunch of example code and stuff that help you get up running really fast, really easy. So right away, basically just going on Amazon, we're able to get something that's up and running. We need, the displays. These are evaluation boards. The hardware is already created. Once again, you just plug them into whatever you want to run, whether it's a microcontroller or a Jetson or whatever, and you're ready to go. We used a USB camera straight off the shelf, like a web camera for his actual, the actual camera for the machine vision. We used a snowblower motor for his neck. So all just, hack together these parts. It can be cheap. You can make it up real quick. You don't have to invest in lots of hardware, lots of time making boards or anything like that. And in that spirit, I'll talk about the software too. You cannot talk about quick prototyping and development and software without bringing up open source. It is so much easier than you may think to be able to get something up and running, thanks to all the libraries that already exist. So a lot of vendors who make the hardware will give you really easy to use libraries that you can use for getting a lot of the basic functionality going. It's well documented, well tested and proven out. After that, you go to the next level. You use things like the OpenCV project for running machine models. Honestly, they're free to use, well maintained by some very generous, very smart developers, and you can leverage that to allow you to just jump right into the application code and development, which is the fun stuff, and it's the stuff that you're really looking forward to right away. So always important to check to see what already exists. That's the first question we ask in software development when there's a hard question or hard problem. It's like, well, is there something out there or that already exists? And it feels like more often than not, the answer is yes.
So improving him over time. This is Sven's second year out in the wild, helpfully improving people's self-perceptions. And he's changed a lot. Last year we made his head out of stainless steel because we thought it would look cool, but it was really heavy. So this year we made it out of aluminum, which is much lighter, lets the motion system control him much more smoothly. Last year his camera was down in the base, which we thought would be easy to mount, but turns out it also gave us a really weird field of view. So we moved it up into his nose, and now he can also, as an added bonus, follow you as you're walking by. We used 3D printed gears last year that wore out quickly. Lots of other little improvements that we've made in the last year have helped him become at least 300% more vicious.
At least scientifically, 300% more vicious.
Yes.
So first of all, thank you all for having us today. What we do at Treetown, this is just a very small part of it. We're just a lot of nerds who like making stuff. If you have a real engineering solution, if you have real problems, if you're a real nerd for engineering, please come talk to us. We'd love to talk to you. We got an awesome booth just across the street that way. You can come talk to Sven. He will roast you. You can come back and talk to Sven again next year. He'll roast you even better because that's how we're iterating. You can also, by the way, for the record, put up a peace sign, number 2 or a thumbs up, and he'll be nice to you too. So we do have that mode. But anyways, we'd love to talk to you, and thank you for having us. Thanks, Park, for having us out here today.
Thanks, everybody.
Let's give it up again for Justin and Garrett and Luke. I want to go to the Nerd Zoo. How many people want to go to the Nerd Zoo? 16,000 square feet right here in Ann Arbor. And once again, we're seeing things being created, things being innovative, and able to actually be brought to market right here in our backyard. Well, we're grateful to the ideas that we've heard so far, but the next one is even cooler. Every time we come back with something, we give you another view into how technology is intersecting with what? Innovation. So our next demonstration, it blends both sports and tech, and we're able to feel the future of sports with what is called force ball, where sensors meet swing, and we're gonna be able to see what it's like, hopefully safely, with these balls, that it does not hit the audience, but the future of sports and tech. So I want us to welcome Mason, who's the founder of Grip Fusion, to talk to us about how sports and tech are converging. Let's give it up.
So I'm Mason Frillick, and today I'm going to talk about Ann Arbor's hottest startup, Grip Fusion. We are pioneering AI-enhanced sporting equipment, incorporating grip sensing modality. And so we believe at Grip Fusion that world-class performance in baseball starts with the right grip. However, there's a massive gap in what exists currently on the market and what we're trying to solve. And that is today's pitching technologies focus solely on ball outputs, right? This is everything that happens after the ball leaves the player's hand, including spin, velocity, spin axis, and movement. However, these grip mechanics, which are the most important determinants of ball performance and command, remain completely unmeasured. Okay, so we have the outputs, but we're lacking the grip mechanic inputs. And so players and coaches are left guessing what works, right? There's no feedback on the subjective feel and how that quantifies into objective performance, right? There's no way to monitor workload and arm stress and the grip forces, which is really important for arm health. And there's kind of a massive blind spot. And so at Grip Fusion, our driving principle is to connect the inputs to the outputs for a complete biomechanical picture of pitching performance. And in baseball and in grip design, this starts with the grip profile, how the pitcher is holding the ball, the finger pressure, how hard they're squeezing, what is the pressure axis, the release timing. What we like to say is all the most important factors that go into pitch design and influence that ball output, ball command, the spin, velocity, and movement. And so to connect those inputs to the outputs, we have built the force ball. I like to call it the world's smartest baseball. And this is the world's first grip sensing baseball that can measure these unmeasured, unquantifiable, up until now, grip mechanic inputs. And so this has the look, feel, of weight of an MLB baseball, but can measure a pitcher's precise grip mechanics. And that is because we've developed this core technology, no pun intended, and then underneath the leather is 688 high-resolution pressure sensors that give us a 360 snapshot of pitcher's biomechanics and grip profile, as well as inertial sensing built in to measure the spin, velocity of movement and all, so that we've developed an end-to-end pitching solution that captures the grip mechanics and connects us to the outputs. And so we're based in Ann Arbor. You know, we're licensed out of the University of Michigan, where this is a spin-off technology in the Sports Science and Exercise Research Lab. We're now on version 3 of our products. We're in pilot testing with MLB and collegiate teams right now. And this is, again, amazing technology that's packed inside just your regular 100-year-old baseball, all right? So we have a pressure sensing array, inertial sensing, Bluetooth streaming to a mobile app, a polymer core to protect the electronics, wireless charging, all stitched up with a genuine leather cover. So again, it just looks and feels like a normal baseball. And that hardware, this ubiquitous piece of equipment, is really going to transform and accelerate how players coach and learn proper pitching technique. And so it's coupling hardware with now advanced AI analytics, where we use reinforcement learning to try to maximize the player's grip profile and potential through iterative learning techniques. So this gives the player real-time feedback to allow them to make subtle adjustments to improve their performance, learn safe pitching technique, and improve arm health. And so by connecting these inputs to the outputs, you know, we're really doing 3 things. You know, for the youth market, for young players, it's all about accelerating skill development. You know, pitching is one of the fastest human motions. It's a very complex skill. And, you know, there are no tools, right, other than a YouTube video. And so we're trying to draw that subjective feel to objective feedback. And then for top performance, it's all about how do we get that 1% edge. So I was an athlete, track and field at Michigan, ran at the Tokyo Olympics, and it's all about maximizing performance. You want to have consistency in your training and your repetition. We're solving kind of the elephant in the room for baseball, which is this arm health question. So it's epidemic levels, and we're providing the tool that can teach proper technique, monitor workload, and intervene when fatigue is too high. And so while we started with baseball, Grip Fusion is really a sports technology company, and we see this future in grip sensing sporting equipment. And so we want to bring this multimodal grip sensing technology into golf, into tennis, into softball, helmets, rackets, and more, where grip is the interface of we as athletes and humans interact with the physical world, and it can teach us so much about posture and proper technique, and is this really unexplored, extremely novel data set that is at the bleeding edge of sports performance. So I'm going to give you a little demo of the force ball connected to the app here, but thanks for listening to the presentation so far.
Well, let's give it up for Mason. Oh, come on, we can do better than that. We have seen sports, batteries, defense, innovation and creativity at its finest. The next one takes it to another level. We have in front of us a real opportunity to see solar power in a whole new form. How many people have maybe solar at your house? Or you've seen solar panels throughout our community? This takes what we all know solar power to be to the next level. It's compact. We know solar power is usually huge. It's portable, and they even say it's ready to roll. So I'm excited to be able to welcome Dean, who is the CEO of APT Solar Solutions, to show us the future of solar power that's portable and ready to roll. Dean.
Thank you.
Let's give it up.
So my name is Dean Strack. I'm the CEO of APT Solar Solutions, and I'm here today to take a step back relative to something that we all take advantage of, and that is electricity every single day. We always just count on it's going to be there, and look at the trends that are happening in electricity and power generation in this country, and then look at some of the challenges that we have and how our technology can help to resolve those challenges that we face. So today, we're going to cover the energy challenges in front of us and supply gaps, grid strain and sustainability goals, renewable goals, solar strengths and weaknesses, how we're contributing, how we're different, and the future of solar. So let's jump in. So traditional solar, or traditional supply of energy is certainly changing. Coal is going offline. Natural gas-fired turbines are sold out through 2030, and they're getting more and more expensive. Nuclear, it's 10, 15-year wait to get that online. And a recent project in Alabama went $30 billion over budget. And certainly there are grid barriers. You want to get connected to the grid, it could be 4 to 5 year wait to get connected. So let's take a look at a couple of trends real quickly. The first trend we'll look at is US energy generation from 2010 to 2015. And the blue line is that energy generation. You see it fluctuates some, but between 2013 and 2023, it grew at 0.3%. Very modest growth. 2025, we're looking at 2.5% growth right now. Next year, we're looking at 3 to 3.5% growth. What's driving that? Data centers, EVs. So there is this massive increase in energy need for us. If we look back in the last 75 years, you'll see that that blue line rose about 4% through that steady slope period, and then it flattened out quite a bit. It's about to take another rise. And real quickly, the green line is renewables contribution. Does anyone know why it was so high in the 50s? Audience question? Anyone have a guess? Hydroelectric, that's exactly right. It was a huge part of our energy source back in the day, and that's no longer, it just doesn't cut it anymore for what our needs are. Now looking ahead, if we look ahead in the next 25 years, you'll see that energy is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. If you look at the projections, take a look at what is the predominant growing source of energy compared to everything else on that graph. The bright yellow is solar. Solar is, and I talk to DTE, I talk consumer energy, you talk to these folks at conferences, they say solar is the thing that they're counting on to be a very big contributor to our growing energy needs. How about outages and the grid? Well, overload risk, Michigan runs at about 90% capacity, and there's certainly some elbow room there, but as the needs accelerate, we're going to need to bring more online faster and faster. And as I mentioned, some of those earlier options of nuclear can be great, it can be clean, it's dangerous, but certainly you can't bring that on very quickly. It is, our grid, it requires in Michigan alone, $1 to $2 billion of upgrades to get us ready for all of those upcoming needs. And rising prices. I don't know if notice your electricity bill, but it's going up. And good we don't live in Ohio for many reasons, football being one of them. But in Ohio, June 4th, they saw a 30% increase in their electric bill. Overnight, 30% across the board. So electricity has doubled the rate of inflation, and inflation isn't low. So it's getting more expensive for us to consume the electricity that we need for our day-to-day lives. And Ann Arbor, just for the record, the residential level is at 2.5% growth in 2025. So it's up there with the national averages. How about the initiatives that are going on in the country? There's a lot of green initiatives, a lot of renewable initiatives. Some of the initiatives that are very successful are Illinois, and we'll cover that in a little more detail. But Illinois and Michigan want to be at 100% clean by 2040, 2050. And you don't get there unless you start now. The US is targeting 80% renewables by 2030. And Illinois in the city is 100% clean already, which is amazing. This year, they achieved that goal. So they've been at it in the city of Chicago, they've been at it for some time now. And Michigan and Ann Arbor, carbon-free by 2040. This is another look at, again, the role in renewables that solar is going to play compared to wind. Solar is the yellow. These are projections, of course. Solar is the yellow, wind is the blue, nuclear is green, and then we have other. But as you see, solar is 50 to 60% of the projected renewable source. Now, let's get down to some constraints with that. We can skip those, I covered that. Let's get down to some of the constraints. So solar is great, but one of the issues with, well, actually, let's cover this first. So that chart shows that in the last 10 years, the cost of generating solar electricity has dropped 80%. It's now cheaper to produce solar electricity than it is to use fossil fuels. The other line there is fossil fuels. So solar is now cheaper than fossil fuels, which a lot of people are unaware of. And it's the fastest to deploy. Now, let's look at one of the constraints that we have with solar, and that's land. And I'm going to just I'll say a couple facts and then explain what that chart is. It's Metro Detroit. So solar requires 5 to 10 acres to produce 5 to 10 acres per megawatt. And if you want to achieve our national goals in 2025, you need to basically have about 54 to 100,000 acres of land. That's a lot of land. And where do you need solar? Or do you need the power? You need it close to where people are, close to where cities are, close to where factories are. But where are you going to put that land? As a frame of reference, 100,000 acres is about 156 square miles. So that means that 80 to 90% of the Metro Detroit footprint needs to be covered in solar panels for us to achieve 1/4's growth, 1/4 objective at a national level. That's 1/4. What about the next quarter and the next quarter? Where are all these solar panels going to go? There's just not enough room for them. And you have shading in cities and a whole bunch of issues like that. And I'd be remiss to not say that batteries are an enormously important component to solar. Solar without batteries is really a non-starter because it collects energy during the day, stores it, and then you can use it when you need it. So batteries are a very important piece, and I just wanted to mention that. So what are we doing at APT Solar Solutions? We have created a patented novel technology that moves solar to a vertical footprint capture. So we have solar panels that are vertically spaced that allow us to collect omnidirectional light for any direction, doesn't need to face south. We're enclosed in a transparent tube, so maintenance is significantly lower. And that gives you the capacity to then generate solar for, this is a light, this is a camera, it has a camera in the module. So you basically have a unit that can generate electricity and store electricity and be applied to any number of different use cases that we'll cover now. Ann Arbor, actually, and Southfield have already adopted this very product, and we have these deployed at a pilot level. So Southfield, just north of the lodge, these are deployed along a pathway. And there's a quick, this is actually Southfield right here that you can take a look at. Another thing that is very interesting about deploying solar renewable energy is that the cost to trench to put the electricity under the ground, the permitting time, I spoke to Dan Slusser, who is the chief of mobility innovation in Detroit. He said what's really slowing down innovation at a sensor level in Metro Detroit is getting online. It could be $5,000 per grid connect in a city, but that's an issue. But the other issue is permitting. It's 6 months minimum to get permits to be able to connect into the grid. With our solution, you can deploy our solution and skip the grid connect cost and skip all of that permitting wait time. So our product line, we have the lighting in different configurations that you see here. We have IoT power module, which is larger, allowing you to put sensors like cameras, smog detection, traffic detection, pedestrian detection around cities to allow us to make smarter cities. And then we have our larger product, which is our solar towers. And if you don't have enough power from one of our units, you can put them in a line and make a solar fence, or you can put them in an array and make a solar forest, taking up 80% less of the land space that traditional solar deploys in. So how do we compete against solar? Well, how about land efficiency? Certainly check. How about power density? We're 12 to 20 times higher in power density than traditional solar. Check. Aesthetics and urban fit. These look significantly nicer than seeing solar panels all over creation. Tamper resistant means less maintenance, less dust. All-in-one integration. You buy a solar panel, you need to buy an inverter, you need to buy a battery, you need to wire all those things together. Our systems are self-contained, all in one. And patent protection. University of Michigan owns 9 patents that are both domestic and internationally filed. No one can make vertical solar but APT Solar Solutions. So why is APT great? 1, we're proven. 2, we're protected. 3, we're scalable. And 4, we believe we're unstoppable. So we're starting with lights because they're small. They allow us to get an understanding of the market and the product development. From there, we'll move to the IoT product line, then to solar fences, and eventually to the large-scale solar production in solar forests. So some early validation. So we have 100 of these units deployed around Michigan. Southfield and Ann Arbor were 2 of the early adopters. Southfield met with them 2 weeks ago. They want more of these. They talked about doing, connected to other cities, a 25-mile track. At the IoT power module, we've built the MVP with the camera in it here, and we're looking for pilot customers now. And then the solar towers, I called up some solar contractors who, I don't know if you know how it works, but if you look to deploy a solar farm, you basically have to ROI it. You have to have enough surface area to justify the cost. And many of their projects get to 80%, 70, 90%, but there's not enough space for them to ROI the project and get a green light to go forward. They're very excited. They said, how many can we get when? Because they can line the perimeter of that solar farm with our towers and get the project green lighted. So Dr. Mustafa Tavantafti is the founder and inventor of this tech. I'm here, and then Steve Anier is also one of the supporters of the tech. And interesting thing about Steve, a month ago, he climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. That's a feat in and of itself, but I'll tell you why it's special. He did it on one leg, all the way up to Mount Kilimanjaro. So we see us redefining the vision. Our vision is to redefine the solar and to address this issue that there's just not going to be enough land for solar to do all it is capable of doing. So here is a couple of other images. These are renderings of how we see the future for e-bike charging, smart cities, and again, going down corridors. The land's already there. Why don't we put solar towers right down our roadways and collect solar in that way? And that is my talk, and I very much appreciate your interest. Thank you.